What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you are all doing fabulous. And speaking of fabulous, we have some wonderful ladies today with the Secret Society Holox deck from Hololive. This is the most recent generation in the JP branch. As much as I've loved looking into like all the English girls as well, this is probably one of my favorite generations on the JP side. I love me some Louis. Coyote and Laplace and Chloe, they're just all adorable in some shape, form, or fashion. But for this, I was definitely eagerly anticipating this particular deck leading up to Volume 2. I was wanting to build this a lot, and I will say prior to recording this, I have seen where a good friend of the channel, Lunchbox, has posted up a deck profile of his own for Holox. I want to state, as of the recording of this, I have not looked at that deck profile. So I'm not trying to copy his in any shape, form, or fashion. If there's any similarities, I apologize, but I am not copying his stuff. But I highly respect him in terms of his deck builds and stuff. So link for his deck will be in the description if you want to do like maybe a comparison between the two, or if you prefer his over mine, it's whatever. He's super awesome. Please go check him out. But I did want to preface that I'm going to be checking out his deck profile after I record this, but I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want it to like influence my choices for this, but I have tested this out against Moroku and whatnot, and I've greatly enjoyed being able to actually test this deck out and play it finally. I've seen some very interesting combinations using like the Chloe and the Laplace in some other deck builds I've seen people posting, so anyway, let's get right into the deck. So first off, so it's yellow-red, obviously, and we're going to start off with the level 3s. We have this Always By Your Side Hakui Coyote is a 3/2/9K. If you have 2 or more copies of her in your waiting room, she gets minus a level in hand. This is not a bad early play condition. It's not as good as, say, maybe like the level 3 Suisei or something, but I've seen this in previous sets before. There was like one in ReZero with like the Fierce or something like that. Then it has, if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, this gets 1500 power and character encore, making her a 10/5 by herself. And on play, you can search your deck for a Hololive character and add it to hand. So just neat little utility all around, especially depending on what you need to get. If you need to search for like more Chloes or whatever, just stating, it's really good. And this particular Laplace is kind of the backbone of the deck. There's a lot of cards in here that work off the resonate effect. For those who are not familiar with resonate, it's typically where you have to reveal a specific named card or type of card in your hand. Think Kawaki Miru from Yu-Gi-Oh! But you typically, for a lot of the effects in here, you have to reveal this specific level 3, a step towards the future Laplace Darkness. It's a 3/2/10K. On play, you get to heal 1, and on attack, if both hands full of happiness, which is this 1K1 choice trigger. Look at that smile. This is some great art. I love that. If it is in your climax area, this gets the following ability until end of turn. Up to 1 time per turn, when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you may deal 1 damage, X times to your opponent. X is equal to, it depends on the number of Laplace Darkness of this card on the field. If the total number of it is 1 or lower, you only burn 1 time, but if you have 2 or more, you burn 1 twice. So for every single one of the more you have of these on the field, obviously you want to try to at least play 2, so you can get 2 burn 1s back to back. And that's obviously if her damage gets canceled. So if it doesn't get canceled and it sticks, I mean, that's all the better. But free is free. We're not going to complain. But most definitely a really fun in-game card. But once again, you have to run a playset of this because of the resonate effects. We're going to get to quite a few in this deck. So next we have Wishing for a Future with You, Takane Louis. It's a 3/2/9/5. This is from the premium booster. When this is placed on stage from hand, draw 1 card, discard a card, then choose one of your opponent's characters and return it to their hand. As long as that character doesn't have hexproof, you could potentially get rid of a big problem card that your opponent has. But also it has a act of pay 1, choose one of your Hololive characters. That character gets +1 soul till end of turn. It doesn't come up a whole bunch, but the theory is where if you need to hit for like precise numbers, you can purposely bump up like soul for like a higher level character and then side for like maybe 1 or 2 depending on the situation. If you need to hit your opponent for just one, you want to like try to make certain your numbers are exact. You know, this is a good way to do it. I haven't ever had to do this effect in all the like the test playing on the simulator and against Moroku, but it is an option. That is it for the level 3s, and next we get to our first instance of the Resonate effect with A Step Towards the Future Kazuma Iroha. 2/165. When this card's level 2 or higher battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your deck into your stock. A little bit extra stock production is always nice. And the Resonate effect is at the beginning of your climax phase, you can reveal the level 3 Laplace. If you do, this gets 6,000 power till end of turn. All the more reason you definitely want to make certain you can get the Laplace in hand, because then that makes this a 12/5 before anything else. That is really nice. So we have one copy of A Step Towards the Future. Hakui Coyote is a 2/145. It's a level assist in front, level assist 500 times that character's level, and a Resonate effect with the darkness, where you can reveal the darkness, rest her, choose one character in your opponent's center stage. It gets negative 1,000 power, and the following ability. During this card's battle, you cannot play backup from your hand. It prevents your opponent from being able to stop, say, your early play stuff, or just our money counters in terms, well, not, it can't stop the events, but if you had, I think like the level 2, the Hachima backup that can rest another character, a lot of the backups like that, it can just stop your opponent from being able to do that, which is very nice. Especially if you want your Laplaces or your Coyotes to live another day. So, very cool, and just one copy of it, just for the heck of it. And then we have two copies of Research Result. Hakui Coyote is a 2/125, but it is a 3k backup. When you use this card's backup, you can choose one of your characters in battle, and that character gets the following ability until end of turn. That when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you put that character into your opponent's memory. So, memory kick, always nice. Lastly, for the level 2s, we have A Step Towards the Future. Takane Lui is a 2/12500 backup. When you use this card's backup, you can pay 2 and sack a character from your stage. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than their level and put it into their waiting room. So always got to have an anti-change. And if you want to, you can like bump this up to like 2 copies and reduce the Coyote here, the memory kick one, down to 1. It really just depends on like your locals or what you feel you're going to run into. But this is kind of interchangeable in that regard. There's some times where I like kind of wish I had one over the other in the test playing. So it just kind of depends. I went with this particularly, but it's whatever. Also, because the Earhawk can like snipe a whole bunch of like the like early play level 3s and whatnot. It's kind of crazy. Next, we get to the level 1s with A Step Towards the Future. Sakamata Chloe is a 1/04k. When this card attacks, if you have another Hololive character, she gets 3k power for the turn. When this card attacks, if only 2 of us at the beach, which is this particular 1k1 salvage trigger. Look at that smile. Just want to protect it. On attack, you can reveal the level 3, Resonate, you can reveal the level 3 Laplace Darkness, and choose one Hololive character in your waiting room. Return it to your hand. Then you reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or higher, put it into your stock. So nice extra stock production, especially if you need to like save your characters or encore them more, or if you need to just be able to like try to early play stuff, or just being able to just get your stock ready. You don't have to worry about your end game. Like it's not like stock cost heavy for your end game, so you don't really have to worry about it too terribly much. But it is nice to always have the extra stock. So the cool thing is it doesn't send climaxes there, so that's another thing entirely. But being able to salvage and get the the extra stock is nice. Lastly, we have Methods for Success. Takane Lui, once again, the smuggest of smiles, and I love her so much. It's a 1/04k. She gets 1,000 power for each of your other Hololive characters in your backstage. With the full backstage, she's a 1/06k constant. Very nice. She makes up defensively for the Chloe not being that strong defensively, but that's whatever. On attack, if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, you can look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one card amongst them, put it back on top of your deck, and put the rest into your waiting room. So some neat little filtering. You get to choose what your triggers are going to be, which is very nice. Then we get to the level 0s. We have 2 copies of Wishing for a Future with You. Hakui Coyote is a 0015. If this card is in the middle position of your center stage, this gets +1 soul. I think this is from the premium booster. I'm fairly certain it is. And when this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay 1, pitch a climax to salvage back a climax from your wing. So the mandatory climax salvager considering you have no triggers that would let you get them back. So definitely a much needed card for this. But there is another card in here that can help with the climax issues every now and then. Then we have Wishing for a Future with You, Kazuma Iroha. Yeah, this is from the Premium Booster. All the Wishing for a Future with Yous are from the Premium Booster, I forget that. It's a 0/0/15. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a Hololive, add it to hand. And when this card attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck and put them back on top of your deck in any order. So really nice to be able to like search for the Chloes or search for the Laplace, whichever you need more. So very nice. Then 3 copies. I was originally running this at 4, but I bumped it down to 3 just to have the event in the deck. But it is Handmade Charm Kazuma Iroha is a 0/0/1K. When this is placed on stage from hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is the event card or a Hololive character, choose one of your characters, and that character gets 2k power till end of turn. So very nice to be able to give to like, even the Chloe gets up to like, with the climax combo, gets up to 8k by herself. So being able to give her like an extra 2k or something, make her a 10,000 before anything else is kind of nice. So at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. If there is a level 2 or higher card amongst those, you may return this card to your hand. I feel it's more preferable in like standby builds that are going to have a higher level 2 and 3 count, because I don't have but so many level 2s and 3s in here by comparison to the 1s and 0s. So that's another reason why I kind of dropped it by 1. I didn't feel I was hitting that particular effect enough as it was, so I'm like, there's no reason to capitalize on it. But it is a good card, don't get me wrong, I just bumped it down because of that. Then we have 3 copies of Shelter in a Shared Umbrella to Kane Louie. I would share my umbrella with her any day. So 0/0/15. When your character's trigger check reveals a climax. Any climax, doesn't matter what kind. If this card does not have any markers, you can choose a card in your waiting room and put it face down underneath this card as a marker. An act ability during your turn. You can sack the marker to choose one of your characters to give it an additional +1 soul. Lastly, she has a Resonate act as well. Pay 1, reveal the Laplace Darkness in hand, and rest this card. You get to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck and choose one of the Secret Society Holox event or a Hololive character from among them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. So being able to dig a little bit more, especially because the Brainstormer I put for this was not the best in the world. It's still very good and has helped me out a lot in test playing. But this is the go-to in terms of, if you had to pick between this and a Brainstormer, pick this. That's me. But then we have 4 copies of, this is one of the best cards in the deck, really. It gets your shit rolling. It is so good. Spreading the Word Sakamata Chloe is a 0/0/15. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, so when it dies, you can put a Hololive character from your hand into your waiting room. If you do, search your deck for a copy of the level 3 Laplace or a copy of the level 0 Louis. So obviously, if you want to draw into this, you want this to be in your opening hand. You want either this card or the Laplace to be in your hand to get one into your hand so you can start being able to use your Resonate effects. So making a specific searcher designed to grab the Laplace is very nice. And if you already have the Laplace, you can grab the Louis, so you can go ahead and be doing the filtering each turn, which is very nice. That 4 copies of that, mandatory, have to run it. 2 copies of Wishing for a Future with You, Sakamata Chloe is a 500 assist to the characters in front, and a spammable Brainstorm. Still very nice to have, but these spammable ones typically have a drawback. It is a pay 1, mill 4. For each climax, you get to salvage a Hololive character from your waiting room, add it back to your hand, and then you have to choose a card in your hand and put it into your waiting room. That is the drawback, is the fact that you have to discard afterwards, but as long as you can like filter, maybe you have extra climaxes in hand or something of that nature, or just extra copies of cards that you don't need, you do have to pitch afterwards, but it doesn't matter. Especially if you can get like copies of the Chloe, you can get those cards back immediately afterwards. So if you know you're able to go ahead and do her climax combo or something, you can pitch extra targets in case if you hit the effect on the Brainstorm, and then just salvage them back and it doesn't fucking matter. Lastly, we have 1 copy of hashtag Secret Society Holo X. It's a level 1 yellow 1 cost event. If you have 2 or less Secret Society Holox characters, it cannot be played from your hand, so you have to have 3 minimum. Search your deck for up to 1 climax, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. Then you get to choose one of your characters, and it gets plus 2k power until the end of the turn. So you, like, obviously by like level 3 or something, you drop the Laplaces down, you want to search for the climax for the combo, just grab it that way. I've contemplated bumping this up to 2, but at 1 it seems to be perfectly fine. Like I said, between this and the Coyote being able to do the swapping just in case, it really hasn't been an issue. If you do want to go for a bit more consistency, maybe you could drop, like I was talking about dropping the copies here earlier with the backups, you could drop a copy of this Coyote and bump this up to 2. It's whatever your preference is. I do not feel a playset is necessary, but once again, I'm going to look at some other deck profiles and see what people are, what they are cooking. But for me, I'm just running like 1 to 2 copies I feel is good enough. Lastly, obviously we have 4 copies of Both Hands Full of Happiness, and 4 copies of Only 2 of Us at the Beach. So we have Choice and Salvage. I have very much enjoyed this deck, and it has been one I've been eagerly anticipating, like I stated before. I definitely want to try to refine this a bit more, but I feel this is a very good starting point for the Holox, especially because I thought the Laplace and the Chloe were going to be way more expensive. Because you can't run the Chloe without the Laplace. So I was really curious as to what the cost of this was going to be. But right now, as of the recording of this, it's incredibly cheap. Both of these are under $1, I think 70 to 50 cents, somewhere in that range. But there's nothing in here that's overtly expensive, which is great. So this is also a very nice budget deck. Maybe future me will post a price up on the screen. If he does, cool. If not, I'm being lazy. So thank you all very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If not, it's cool. Thank you for stopping by to check it out. Once again, go check out Lunchbox's build as well. He is an awesome dude, and I appreciate him so much. With that, we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.